to be you. In just a second, I'm going to put up a puzzle. On the puzzle it says start here, and I want you to solve the puzzle as quickly as you can. Ready? Go. Oh, why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? Tell me.
He said it.
Who said it?
Dead ends. Yeah.
There's no way out.
There's no way out. This is why most real estate investors fail. They listen to the gurus at the front end that say, listen, if you get into real estate investing, you can have wealth, you can have freedom of time, you can quit your job, you can focus on your family, you can do all of these things, and they go, oh yes! And then they go jump off a cliff because they didn't start with the end in mind. They got so stoked about this vision of what their life could become that they didn't take time to sit back and go, what's the strategy to get there, and what is my exit strategy? The key to successful real estate investment is always knowing your exit strategy. That might be that you're gonna flip the home. That's an exit strategy. Tonight we're gonna be talking about how to hold the home. But the key is going in with the strategy, because if you do, you will not fall off a cliff. And I'm going to set you up for success in that. Let's do this now. You ready? Solve it. How many of you in the room, as soon as I put up this picture, how many of you started here? 2, 3. I always start here. Okay? How many of you started here? All right. Majority. Every maze is easier if you do it backwards. And the reason for that is because when they're designing the puzzle, they put all the barriers at the front end. They pack the puzzle at the front end, so if you go to the end and you work your way backwards, you'll solve it faster. And that's what you need to know as an investor. You always go to the end, work your way backwards, so that you see the plan, and then you take your first step into the maze. The key is always begin with the end in mind. Now, for those of you that are CD or OCD, there's your solution. All right. Okay. So tonight, this is going to be you. Tonight, you're leaving with how do you do the exact opposite of 99% of real estate investors and go against the crowd and not fall off the cliff. There are 2 lending strategies to do that, and here's what you're going to gain as we go through them. Number 1, you're going to build your portfolio and revenue faster. Again, it goes back to the strategy. Number 2, you're going to create sustainable wealth. Now keep in mind, if you're flipping properties, that's a great strategy. That creates short-term boost of wealth that does not create sustainable wealth. If you choose to hold a property, you're going to create sustainable wealth. And then third, simply this, you're going to mitigate risk because you're going to know your plan going in. I want to tell you about Michael. Michael was getting into real estate investing and never bought a property before. And we got on a phone call, and he said, so I'm thinking about getting into real estate investing. I'm working with an agent actually at New Western. We have a few New Western people here. And so I'm thinking about getting into this property. He said, would you mind just sharing with me some of my exit strategies? And here's what I said to him up front. I said, Michael, what you need to do on the front end is before you buy a property, get pre-approved in the loan for the exit strategy. It doesn't matter if you buy the property with a hard money loan. It doesn't matter if you buy it with your home equity line of credit. It doesn't matter if you use a 1031 exchange. It doesn't matter if you bring your own capital and cash to the table. If you're going to hold the home, you probably want to get your capital back or pay off the hard money loan so that you have capital to make your next purchase again right away. But the key to decreasing your stress in this is before you buy the property, get pre-approved on the exit strategy. So what I do is I convert hard money loans or homes that were purchased with cash to permanent loans fast. That's the key. But to put your heart at ease, you need to know that you can get that exit strategy. It's like, okay, I'll do that. What else should I do? I said, do this. When you're getting your hard money loan, I want you to negotiate 6 months and 1 week. He goes, why in the world would I negotiate 6 months in 1 week? Well, most hard money lenders will give you 6 months at the front end, and then the day after 6 months, they're going to charge you 1 to 2 more percent to do another extension. It takes me 6 months and 1 day to cash out refinance the loan. So what I told him is negotiate a hard money loan for 6 months and 1 week so that we have time to refinance and you're not getting charged points again to extend the loan. And at the front end, they're not going to think twice about it, just do it. And bring to them the pre-approval that I've already given you so you can negotiate better rates on the hard money loan. Because if you show them you have an exit strategy and you're asking for that 1 extra week ahead of time, number one, they're going to give it to you for no extra cost. Number two, you're coming to them in a place of negotiating strength because they know that you have an exit strategy. The first home that he bought was $145,000, hard money loan, and then he needed to put $10,000 of rehab, and then he had closing costs for the hard money loan. So all in, he was into the home for $165,000. Now, we knew that the home was going to have an ARV, after renovation value, of $220,000. Now, regardless of which loan type I go with, you can get a loan to value of 75% of the ARV. So in his case, he could get a $160,000 loan to pay off his hard money loan, which means some of you might be familiar with the term seasoning. In that case, there is no seasoning. There's no waiting period in order to refinance that particular loan. He finished the project in about 8 weeks, and we immediately did a refinance on the hard money loan, and then he was in a 30-year fixed rate loan. So he walks away from that, basically all his money back, and now he's able to immediately take money from his assets and to reinvest in his project. And in his case, he's cash flowing that project. His mortgage is $1,500, and his rent that he's pulling in is $2,200.
Nice.
The guy is so cash positive, crazy cash positive, right? So now he has money that he can start turning right back into other projects. Let's look at the 2 pathways forward. I just gave you the conventional loan track. All right, I tend to start most everyone here, but you don't have to start here. So let's talk about the conventional loan. The conventional loan, by the way, is no different than the loan you have on your primary home. They're the lowest interest rates you can get as an investor on investment properties. Right, so let's just kind of tear right through it. So conventional loan, you need to know it's a personal loan. The loan is in your name. Keep in mind, a mortgage does not note ownership. So what I do with investors is usually 90 days after we write the loan and you make your first payment on the home, then what we do is we convert the title from your personal name to the LLC. That gives you the legal backing and protection, okay? So it's a personal loan in your name. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac say you can do up to 10 of those. I only encourage up to 8 because I believe in margin. Second, it's based on your debt to income ratio. It's your monthly debt divided by your monthly income. And that percentage, it has to be less than 50%, and you're able to get this loan, which means, let's go to this one first. This is best for W-2 employees. If you are self-employed, this can work. It's a whole lot more paperwork. You just need to know that up front. And then the loan to value on this particular conventional loans for investors is 75% of the ARV after renovation time, right? And then I already mentioned this lowest interest rate. So this is one pathway forward. Now, here's the beauty. I tend to start here, especially with young investors that have W-2s. The reason I do that is because of the lower interest rate. And if all of this works, you're going to be in the best position. I would do as many of these loans as you can before you max out your DTI so that you're maximizing at the front end the revenue on the portfolio you're growing. Okay? Once the DTI maxes out, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. We simply do this. We convert you, now put you into a DSCR loan, right? So you're probably wondering, well, what's the difference between a conventional and a DSCR? This is a commercial loan. The moment I say commercial, you probably know that the interest rate is going to be a little bit higher, right? Okay. So now you know I'm starting here. But if at any point in the process we need to jump tracks, we easily just go, whoop, and we get on a new track. The way that this is calculated is your net operating income So that's your rent. Let's say it's $2,200, and then you take all the expenses of running that property out of that rent, okay? So what goes into that is your property tax, your HOA, insurance, maintenance, and management fees, right? You subtract those monthly expenses out, and in the example of Michael I gave you earlier, he was going to subtract out $650 from $2,200 a month, okay? And then you divide that by your principal and interest, just the principal and interest. The principal and interest on his loan was $1,150, and when you run that math on his loan, you come up with a DSCR loan that has a percentage of 1.35. When you run that number, you want that number to be 1.2 or higher. Okay? 1.2 or higher, most lenders really want you to be at 1.2. 1.3 is gold. This particular property that I told you about with Michael is really gold. Then you have loan to value is exactly the same. Usually it's 75%. Some will do 70. Right? Again, keeping equity in a home, it can actually protect you. Think COVID, when the government decided that tenants that were under financial distress didn't have to pay their rent, right? So that happened to you, didn't it? You have enough properties, I know that happened to you.
And you get smart receipts.
Yes. So you need these cash reserves because if you have enough equity sitting in the home, then I can give you a home equity line of credit, you can start paying the rent. In essence, you're paying the mortgage for a renter that's not paying the rent. Right? Okay. So keeping money in a house is not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, there's a balance between how much you pull out to get the next property and how much you need to leave in to make sure you're cash flowing positive so people will keep lending you money. So there's a balance there and it changes person to person. Then this is best for self-employed. The reason for that is because this is based upon the income of the property, not your personal income. So it makes it easier for you if you're self-employed to go this route. And oftentimes, if someone's self-employed, I'll actually start them here, depending on what they tell me in their storyline. And last thing is this, obviously a little bit higher on the interest rates. Okay, so that leads us to this. Based on your story, where do you need to begin? Remember, it's all about beginning with the end in mind. And the key is, knowing these two options, these are two possible pathways to the hold, then my encouragement is, like in the story of Michael, get pre-approved before you buy the home. Get pre-approved for one of these two loans, right? Get pre-approved for one of them. Take that pre-approval to the hard money lender. If you're going to use a hard money lender, use it to negotiate because you have an exit strategy that gives them confidence in you. And then you just walk it back.